Welcome, 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 everyone, to another adventure into reality. Come on into the room over here, and we will be taking calls in just a second. Somebody already has their hand up. Now, if you are listening on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or anywhere else and want to be a part of today's call-in show, Robert's going to put up some information. There you go. That's how you join the Zoom room. All you need to do is enter the ID number and then access your thing and raise your hand. And then Robert, the mystical master that he is, spins up the wheel of callers, and that is how the universe picks our daily teachers. I just want to say I'm open to talk about anything today. This is not just a reading show. For those of you who just want to talk or have a perspective or a subject matter that they wanted me to go into, this is that opportunity to talk about. All right, Robert, I believe we've got a bunch of people already here. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who the universe offers for our first experience.
I like to see all those hands. First person I'm going to push the button for is Martin Thomas. Signal to unmute.
Martin Thomas, are you there? Going once, Martin Thomas, as he stubs his toe. There we go. Martin, are you there?
Hello. There
Hi.
I am.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Germany.
Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
I had quite a lot of questions over the last year, but I was too chicken shit. But yeah, it has to end one day with the chicken shit. So,
my chicken shit teaching stuck to you?
Yeah, totally. I am super interested in my galactic history, but I know it wouldn't be too good for my ego right now.
Okay.
The last shows were totally spot on for me, like the entity problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have the feeling that for about 1 to 2 years, I feel like I'm heavily targeted, and I'm quite confused, as you can tell in the way I'm talking.
Right, because you have doubt if you're being actually targeted, or this is just the energies you don't know how to process.
Yes.
So, what do you do? What do you do for your life? Do you have a job?
No, I'm not working right now. Like the last year, I'm going to work in April again in a theater as a dancer. But yeah, it was quite some time where I didn't do anything, so my self-esteem got a little lower.
So, are you like professionally dance trained?
Yes, I was teaching hip hop dance and I would say experimental dance for about 8 years. And yeah, last year, the year before, I got a job in an opera, very surprisingly. And we had to wait because of the whole thing. And yeah, now we're going back and I'm going to teach in 20 days again. That came very, very fast. And so I'm happy that some things are coming up that are bringing me out of my hermit cave.
So you have this new job coming up. When does it start?
It's going to start at the last week of April, and it's going for about, I would say, 2 months.
And is that like a 6 day a week production, 3 day a week production?
It's going to be 1 week of rehearsals, and then we have over 2 months, like 1 up to 3 shows in a week.
Okay, so it's not a very high schedule, but it's still a lot of energy. All right, so my first piece of advice for you is you're coming out of hermitacy, and there's an energetic muscle structure that you have where being back at work, you can pull some energy muscles very easy. You don't want to do that. So the first thing you have to do is to start understanding how you wake up in the morning. Okay, you have to be more body centric when you wake up. So you're going to want to change your morning ritual. If you're a person that sleeps late, you can't sleep late when you're at the job, are you?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so you got to
already
first.
started. Yeah.
Okay, you got to change your sleep patterns, and then in the morning start exercising right away. You got to get back into body shape. You're nowhere near as flexible and limber as you were before.
True. True that.
Okay, you got to get that. You got to get that back. You got to find. You got to find your groove.
Yeah. I actually struggled quite a lot with waking up, due to like in the last show, like my father is haunting me in my dreams, and that was. But yeah, I'm working on it. But
Well,
yeah,
this is where you can incorporate dance into spirituality.
yeah.
Here's an example. You can take any one of the existing contract revocations and make a dance beat to it. And accentuate when there's a line there that you like or that's powerful, you accentuate that line with dance, movement of the arms, bobbing of the head. And then the next, incorporate dance into that. And then you make one specific. Yeah, make one specific about whatever nightmares that you have. The waking you is confronting the nightmare and shining light on it, and you make that into a rhythm and dance mode. And it's just coming up with the repetitive lines about cleansing and clearing, forgiving and relieving. And it's almost its own spiritual dance rap for you, hip hop rap.
Yeah, that's amazing because I'm doing music too. So yeah, you just gave me a whole set of ideas.
Now, can you industrialize it? Meaning making a part of your deeply committed. So now in between the time that the job starts, you can get yourself back into shape and maybe a little bit better shape than you were before. And you're going to have to eat differently because obviously during your hermesy, food fucked you up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm a recovering vegan.
You're a recovering vegan. You listened. Okay.
I had to. It was too draining without the protein.
Okay. And now how do you feel with the protein?
Way better. I actually, like last week I ate 4 days straight chicken, all the wings into my body. It's great.
Good. You're now seeing the changes. Now, as I said, you got to industrialize. You got to figure out how you can eat and then exercise, or exercise and then eat, and find the right thing for your metabolism. Because you got to change your metabolisms from lazy hermit, to somebody that's going to be in a dance and song production, that you got to have 100% energy reserves for.
Yeah, that's I can feel that because I do all kinds of arts, the music production, the singing, then I'm painting and the dancing, and I could tell that I was really frustrated that the one thing is my persistency, where I now try to use the contract revocations to have this stable consistency, but yeah.
So what you'll understand from doing the revocation, there comes a point of doing them in the repetition and then going up the next level, recording them. And the next level after that is listening to them in a meditative state. And can you pass on thoughts, feelings, and emotions from the person reading it to the person listening to it? It's a way of auditing yourself on the seriousness of your own work. And then you'll have to create the next level after that is adding your own lines to those and making new ones. Okay, and new ones can be very short. You just add them onto the end of another recording. For example, you're being haunted by your dad. You know why? There's unresolved energies there. There's anger is there. There's all the projected energies, and then the lack of, you weren't able to mourn them right. So you can make a revocation that says, whatever part inside of me will not let me mourn for my father, I reduce to zero minus infinity out of my sacred healing duty to myself, so I can begin to experience the frequency of mourning and letting go and going through the emotions. My body, mind, and spirit can handle it. Whatever protective program is in there, or defensive projection or offensive projection from others, I cancel, cure, delete, reduce to zero, minus infinity, so I may be in free of its space to begin to see the journey of healing for myself. That's just an example. Now, I've mastered this ability to come up with in flow, just as you can do it and you can do dance, I can do with words. But once you link your feet to your mouth, there's a rhythm and a cadence. And you can memorize 20, 30 different one-liners and then begin to put together a unique form of your spiritual expression, and then find yourself in the flow where you're just creating as you go, allowing the creative inspiration to expand the subject matter of what healing can be through the expression of dance.
That's amazing, because I thought about writing my own revocations, and there came the lazy part of my brain, and it was like, oh, it's so long.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. Like connecting with the dance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then allowing yourself to feel that enthusiasm, that inner strive to carve your artistic levels out.
I love it.
Okay. So how long have you been a professional dancer? Been in the professional theater dance?
Theater, that's the very first production where I came in.
Mm-hmm.
But before, I was teaching for about 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to school for it?
Nah, I had a hip hop trainer, and he was mentoring me from the age of 13. And
okay, you're a prodigy. I knew it. Dance prodigy. All right. So the next thing is, do you have a dance team around you?
I had one. I was a co-director of a team, and we were dancing on European competitions and stuff like that. But like 3 to 4 years ago, when the universe first slapped me and brought spirituality onto my radar, I had to step out. And
okay. So what I'm gonna suggest is, you're not going to create a competition team. You're going to be creating a money making team, one that goes and does events, dancing events. Okay, events that you sponsor. Like, I'm going to use the metaphor, like when in South Park, where they come up and do the dance off. They come up to the street corner and do a whole dance in front of someone, and you just got served. Now you're going to do that in a different form. In a different form is there. You could be hired for parties and events, okay, and you just put on your show.
I love it. I actually have a theater piece and some concepts that I wrote down a couple of years ago, but I got so out of touch with the dancers that I was like,
Okay. See, that's something that could easily be added. Like, you find somebody that's a wedding planner, and you go and show off to them and do a couple dance sample things for them. They'll sell that shit, and you'll be doing that at weddings. I mean, the unique thing where you can come out and show people how to dance and do moves, and you guys are all instructors. So you can really get parties going. You got to get that hip hop side and get somebody that's a little mic man for you.
Yeah, the hip hop is not. It's not. I'm more like, it's very
any dancing, like any dancing that applies to showing off at a wedding. Well, it could be anything. It could be 50s tap dancing, if that's what the wedding wants.
Yeah, that's dope. I like it. I like it. It's new, but because I was thinking about how can I use the dance and like to bring more of the good energy out again. Like,
well, you gotta get over the uninspired you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
True.
As you get back and feel the taste of the live production and the connection to those other people, inner fire is gonna turn on. but you just can't burn out before you get there.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to take a serious relook at your food. You got to put some muscle back on your body.
Yeah. That's
You really,
that's true.
you really need a couple dance partners that can just motivate you to get up in the morning and, practice twice a day with them if they're all lazy bums like you.
I have a crew. Like we are like a little collective, and I feel like I should connect back to them. Like I
Yes.
had too many trust issues for so long.
Well, you got to get over them.
Yeah. So when it comes to the targeting, was that more my fear, or like I really had this kind of trust issues? Like I stepped out and I didn't know who to trust, and
Because
it
you
was
lost
too
your core.
much.
You lost your sense of a core. Your core frequency was skewed too much. You couldn't figure out who was who.
Yeah.
Now, let's get back to the subject you were talking about before, entities. Okay? Where did they come from? Where do you think they came from? What's creating this around you? And you can let your ego talk here.
It started all with one story. Like after spirituality came up for me, there was this one girl that I met, and there were a couple of really weird situations. And afterwards, I fell into a deep hole and felt like, I was constantly abused, and my air was breath was taken away. And from that point on, I had this big focus, like I am targeted, and I know and I believe that I created a lot of self-created demons, like
Okay.
that
Yes,
kept
lots of
rolling with
self-created
them.
demons. Yes, lots of self-created demons, but those self-created demons are taking energy from others' projections at you. And I'm sure you've heard me say that you can smell the mouse fart next door as a metaphor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When it comes to people that are around you, you're sniffing their buttholes from a mile away. Even if they just have a little bit of bad energy about you, and even if it's just a daily thing or a weird thing, you're sniffing it right away and oversensing it. You've become so oversensitive that you believe you're targeted, because oversensation is overinformation is a form of targeting. You're targeting yourself.
Oh God. Yeah. I knew that. Yeah, it stressed me a bit.
So right now you've got to find what's going to inspire you, what's going to turn on the smile, the recarving of the body, mind, and spirit as a single spiritual expression. Because dance and art are an expression. Another thing you can do as what I'll just say as a little ritual for you. Do you like to paint?
Yeah. I actually try to start selling my paintings too.
What kind of painting do you do? Acrylic, art, oil, what?
Mainly acrylic, and recently I started to make some pieces with crayons, like oil crayons.
Okay. I want you to think about buying airbrushes and learning how to airbrush.
Airbrush.
Airbrushing, yes. Do you know what that is?
I know it. I never thought about it because I'm very abstract, and I thought like airbrush, I would need to be a very more accurate painter.
No, not at all. As long as you can draw. The cone, the cone on the tip of an airbrush is not very big, and it's not like you're painting huge spaces. So you could do some extremely detailed work with an airbrush. Okay, as well as learn how to work on a much bigger scale and surface. Imagine starting on a 50 by 50 surface, 50 inches by 50 inches. Right. Your scale is so much bigger. Okay. This will help you see your bigger visions, where you're no longer going to be stuck to a little thing. And you can still incorporate your other forms of art into airbrushing. People do that all the time. But in the meantime, what I want you to do is to get two canvases and have two easels and have them pretty far apart, like at least 15 feet apart. And you're going to start drawing on one and then dance yourself to the other one, draw something different, and then dance to the other one. And I want you to see each easel as a dance partner. And the creation that you put on the actual paper is the drawing that turns into a painting. So you're going to be working on two paintings at once with this dance energy between the two of you so that you can use your previous experiences of how partners come in and out of an experience. And this will help you to connect to the painting and then have the dancing aspect inspiring some of the painting for you.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
Okay. And then I really advise you really pick up airbrushing, man. Don't jump into it. It's going to really give you a whole different perspective. And then you can immediately learn to airbrush clothing and make some weird costumes.
Oh shit! Yeah, I wanted to go there sometime. Oh.
All right, brother. I got to let you go and move on to the next call. You're a fun caller.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
All right, man. Take it easy. You have a good one.
Goodbye. Much love.
Yep. All right, Robert. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okay, sending a signal to Kim. Kim, you are unmuted.
Kim, are you there? Hi, where are you calling from?
Gold Coast, Australia.
Oh, are you getting flooded?
Yeah. I'm up in the ridge, so the people below me are getting flooded.
How bad is it?
It's really, really bad, and the government's doing absolutely nothing, Andrew. This is it looks like a deliberate storm there.
Yeah, it's just as bad as Katrina. It's just as bad as Hurricane Katrina when it hit the south here in the United States.
So bad.
Yeah. So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, I'm another light worker, so it's been wonderful watching you over the last week or so since a friend introduced me to you. And I was explaining to him that I split myself up multidimensionally when I'm working on people because my guides are quite bossy and say I might be working on the head doing something and they go, hang on, we need you to go over to the left hip. And then I need you to go down to the right toe down there. And so they get me to split up and I work on people. Yeah, I say to them, don't be surprised if you feel several sets of hands on you because it's me just working.
Yeah, I've been saying that stuff for years, learning multidimensional living and experiencing. And I got to experience through doing something very similar to what you're doing is when I was doing hands-on healings, I could have 10 bodies of me simultaneously around the table, or I could have 100 hands.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was so great that when my friend was telling me about yourself, and then I looked into your information, and you were talking about what I do, and I've never heard anyone else talk about it like that. So it's just the language that I've had all my life. I don't know anything else.
So do you want to pull the curtain back for a minute and let everybody see what it is that you do?
What I do?
Yeah. Kind of just tell them, let's say you have a client that comes to you and, you know, what is the session like with you?
Well, the healing starts before they pick up the phone, actually. When they decide to call me, I'm already given information about them. I don't know who they are. I'm just given information and shown what I need to show them. So when they call me, they already feel a bit of relief and know that something's going to happen for them. I know that sounds weird, but they all tell me this.
This is the same experience that I've had also. When you step into that healing field and you're already at that top level, like what you're doing, there's a stream of information, and I call it the precognitive workforce and postcognitive workforce. So before they even call you, there's a team of things working on the energy connection, beginning the healing, and then you're actually doing the healing. And when you're done, there's a post-cognition process that adjusts the healing after it's been done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So as soon as the thought process, their thought has connected with me. just
Yep.
the thought of calling me has already called me in.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And then, you know, during the healings are just so humbling. You know, I
So do
open
you find?
myself with the channel, just a pure channel, and I'm just guided to do whatever their higher self is guiding me to do.
Are you able to do this for yourself?
I'm learning to do that now. Been trained, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay.
Not to look after
So
myself anymore.
this is where I can help you. Okay. So what I want you to do is to see yourself in your own mind sitting at your massage table or whatever it is, however it is that you do your work, whether it's online or whatever. Okay. And pay yourself right now for the session.
Oh, wow.
Okay. This is the important part. All right. Pay yourself. Okay. And at some
Andrew,
point,
we're not meant to get paid. Remember these gifts, you know, they've been given. We're supposed to give them away for nothing, aren't we?
Exactly. So teaching number one, pay yourself your value because you're good. Okay. And feel that value come into you.
Perfect.
Okay. Now I want you to begin. You scan yourself. So you have a paid self in front of you, scanning you now, and just give a description of what your experience or vision is.
Okay, so there's a lot of, so I connect into the meridian lines, energy. So the liver's red, the heart's red. So solar plexus and heart. Oh, the crown that's shining, right? It's really bright.
So I want you to go up to the crown and like a telescope getting into adjustment from something long range, kind of just to adjust the crown energy so it has a better focus.
Yeah, it feels like my antenna's been played with, you know?
Yeah, kicked. It's kind of been hit.
That's what my blockage is there. And I can feel it, you know? And then they zap into it now and then. And it's as much protection as I put around it. How do I fix that?
So we're going to do that right now. So what I want you to do is that antenna energy, I want you to find what you do when you need to solidify a healing. Like, you know that you need to just find that process of solidifying a structure around it that can resist multidimensional windstorms.
Okay, so like the tetrahedron.
Yeah, or that you know, crystallized
like
hardened.
Sorry, pronunciation hard sometimes, and because it's different language, so sometimes I have trouble pronouncing things.
It's okay.
I have to write them down for people.
It's okay.
And draw things for them.
Okay, so let's just finish solidifying that antenna energy in the crown. Okay. Now I want you to compare the paid you crown to the sitting you crown, because you've got multidimensional vision here. You can get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And how different are the two?
Oh, yeah, okay, so
Okay, this is a little bit of a self block. The goal is to get the paid The goal is to get the paid you crown into the physical you crown, so you can experience your own power as a connective self process.
The paid one is like a glitching, you know, like a holograph. That's how I see it. Like I see myself, but it's sort of glitching. So bringing that in will bring that solidity back. I see that now.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what is telling me the next process here is, you have something inside your vagus nerve that is creating this glitch, or what it's doing is repeating something that has information overload in it. So go from the vagus nerve. So just flood the vagus nerve with light from the crown. So it begins a pushing process, and anything that's temporally stuck, meaning it's stuck from another time and can't move on. Yeah, your audio is beginning to break up. Can you come closer to the mic? There you go. You're better now. Yeah.
It's I can feel it. It's a little bit painful.
Yeah. Keep pushing.
Okay.
Okay. So the vagus nerve is connected to every organ and all the sympathetic and parasympathetic. I want you to put more focus into the parasympathetic pushing on the parasympathetic side.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's released something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some stuff coming out of your aura now. It's like a colory haze. I want you to take a look at your outer aura.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's what's creating the skew energy in you. Can you create an anti-venom to that, or have a system to begin to clear that out? Because you got some of this is hardened on the inside.
Okay. Now we're going to replace that with some gold, if that's all right with you, Anne.
Yeah, gold, platinum, silver, light, all of that. Yes, harden that energy around it.
It's. I might put a bit of hematite for reflection and protection. Okay.
All right. So now what I want you to do is to take your third eye and line it up with the crown chakra and make the third eye come out of the top of the crown like a periscope. And I want you to project energy out of that periscope eye, so it illuminates your internal bubble of self-reality, meaning your personal energetic space is going to have this light shining inside of it. So your outer aura, inner aura, and meridians can now be saturated by the light coming in the crown, and then going out that periscope projection and filling up the bubble around you with light. So it saturates internal and external. Okay, as it begins to saturate, I want you to make another third eye outside of the bubble and begin looking in at the different colors, external and internal. So you can do a full external aura read of yourself. As the illuminated bubble. What kind of information are you getting from that bubble? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. What are you experiencing?
There's just so much love.
Okay.
In here.
This is how you do treatments on yourself.
This is quite overwhelming.
Okay. And you can learn to do this where you could have hundreds of yourselves working on yourself. You already know you do it for your clients. You just got to enter that mind state where I've just paid myself for a session and then do it. Yeah, we can barely hear you. Something's wrong with your microphone. If you got a headset on, can you unplug it?
There's no headset. Are you there?
Oh, God, much better. We can hear you now. Yes.
I said, when I go into a healing for myself, I've never done that with what you said. And I always get, you just go off in a tangent after a little while and I lose myself. Not like when I do a healing, like I can be there for 30 minutes or an hour and I'm just in that zone. And it's beautiful because I'm getting all that beautiful energy flowing through me and the healing at the same time. I'm never exhausted by healing. I'm actually, I'm fulfilled by healing. It's beautiful.
Yes. So this type of healing will make you even better at healing others.
Wonderful, because I'm quite unwell at the moment. I'm actually need a wheelchair.
Okay. Now, what you can also do is write down multiple ideas to have in a healing. Like I said, they have the periscope, the outer eye, the inner eye. You can put, there's all sorts of things that you can do just as a little note for reminders to yourself. So you can set up 20 or 30 different forms of inputs into the healing for yourself.
That's for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what keeps you as a healer? What's grabbed your heart and made you say, I want to do this?
I was born to do this. I've been doing it for a long time. But unfortunately, I've been in a situation for a very long time that's stopped me from doing that. But I freed myself from that. So now I'm in the process of rebirth, really. That's what I've been looking to do, is this shaman's rebirth.
So something about the shaman's rebirth to understand. You can see it like a pendulum between light and dark, light and dark. You experience the light. So when the pendulum swings to the darkness, you shine the light in the darkness and are able to see your own shadows and not get lost into the story of the shadow, but allow shadows to simply have its time. So it is released. And then you release the shadow at the same time through a learned lesson. And that journey of the shaman is always a journey from the light to the light to the dark, till we learn to master the sacred neutral, the absolute in between, where you're not attached to either side. And it's a spiritual space for you to work into. It's a state of being.
Okay.
And their information and processing of information will increase to the infinite speeds, what I call superluminal thinking.
Yeah, because the amount of information that comes through is phenomenal. It always has been. You can't really switch like yourself. You can't switch it off.
No, you can't switch it off.
It's who I am.
You just figure out how you express who you are to everyone else. That's why I do these shows. And people like you come out of the woodwork. Okay, we speak each other's language. I just been speaking it publicly. There's no difference.
No, and the people, when I speak about the other universes and the other worlds and the other civilizations, my memories of all that, the Galactic Wars, and being one of the commanders in the spaceships, kicking butt up there was phenomenal. And like, I've never met anyone else like myself until you.
Okay. So do you want to communicate to anyone on the ships and have the audience listen to this? Spin your Rolodex of alien connections and see who comes up. I know you got a lot of them.
You're putting me on the I shouldn't have said that. Wow, I've just put myself in a big car. I've been hidden away for this long. Okay. Well, then, the amount of light beings that have been dropping onto the planet over the last 6 months or so, as you know, has been insane. And I keep saying to people, can't you see them? Can't you see them dropping down? Okay. We've already won.
I know that. We've already won, but we still have to go through the winning.
The water, this is the water that they were talking about that's happening now. That's going to be, I think this is the exposure here now with the water, because The Hopi also predicted the water. Remember the water burning? And that would be the third earth shaking, which is what's happening now. I know that
I wouldn't say that Hopi have the soul expression. Simply because every little space is going to experience the awakening differently, which is going to begin to subtly put cracks into there being one unified global atomic clock time, using Roman numerals. That's going to be the first major break in perspective, separate of the news and what the narrative says. The narrative will be broken into hundreds of different simultaneous narratives as people begin to chart their course into the actual what the awakening means for them. As you go to a far more unstructured planet for a short period of time, as the solar maximum begins to kick back in, like we're at the bottom of the solar minimum now.
Yeah.
And as the solar maximum begins to kick in, there's going to be like you're in Australia and I'm in America, and we're technically under one narrative time called Roman numeral. Well, that won't be true anymore. You will have your local time and I will have my local time, but they won't be in connected narratives.
Mm. Yeah, but those areas here too that they're flooding, they got huge wombs there. Huge.
Yeah, but where is this? There's another aspect. Where is this water going?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. It's going out back to the ocean or underground. Okay. Which will then refill massive aquifers, which will then, once there's water in them, when there wasn't, it'll create high levels of electromagnetic activity, just like what's under the pyramids. Wherever there is gravel, limestone, bedrock with crystal in it, and you have water moving through it, you have a high electromagnetic charge. And that electromagnetic charge has been diminished in that area for a very long time.
It'll bring them back out then.
Yeah, and a lot of people aren't going to be able to stand the energy. It's going to drive them away.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there are others that'll be bathing, and others it just creeps them out. Okay. Well, now you have something to do for yourself. Learning how to do a session and advancing sessions for yourself. And one more thing about paying yourself. That starting of it and feeling the value come into you is so vital.
Well, I've always been valued over my life.
Yeah, well,
I never even realized that until a few months ago. You know, how people value you, and it's been really, it's I don't know why they do that.
Everyone does it for a different reason. That's why you got to learn. The part of giving yourself the treatment and evaluating yourself is so you can feel your physical value and have a deeper reflection on it every time you give it to yourself.
Yeah, but it's also the understanding of what other people are going through too. People always say,
sure.
I don't go through everything, but you know, you do need to go through things so that when you're working on someone, you actually you do have an understanding of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a bit like a male doctor telling a woman what it's like to give birth in this lifetime.
Right. It's just not always accurate. Exactly. Or it's not reflective of the emotional journeying, whatever. Yeah.
It's not reflective at all because you can never understand that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for your time today, Andrew.
You are so welcome. And after a while today, sit down and give yourself a 1-hour treatment. And go into the forgiveness. Go give yourself a true internal cleansing of projections at you or stuff you've created on yourself. And remember, it's still about producing more light. So at the end of the session, you should be a glowing golden globe. All right, darling, take it easy. It's good talking to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Love to you.
Love to you too. Bye-bye. All right, Robertimo, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Alrighty, thank you, Kim. Judith Nemeth, signal to unmute.
Judith, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, where are you calling from?
Brevard, North Carolina.
Brevard, North Carolina. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
It's so funny. I knew I was going to get picked. So funny. I want to know my galactic history.
Okay, why?
Probably because of trauma that I dealt with when I was 23.
Okay. Keep going.
I think I kind of
Seems like we lost you. Hello? Judith, are you there? Robert, is she remute?
Her mic is open, but she's not there. It sounds like a weak signal.
Weak signal, yes.
let me try. What about now?
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I got closer to the internet.
There you go.
I went to a Reiki healer pretty soon after the trauma, and she talked to me about the other guy that was involved and talked about how we have past lives together where we kind of go back and forth, where we kill each other back and forth in different past lives. And this one, I hit him with my car and he passed.
So when did you hit him, and when did you physically hit him with the car?
Like the date and I don't know the time, but the date, yes. June 13th, 2013.
Okay, and what happened there?
It was in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was on my way back home from work, and I was driving my car, and I looked down at my phone, and I hit a biker on the side, and I didn't see him. And I didn't know at the time that I had hit a biker. I thought I had pegged a mailbox or something. Okay. And so I kept going. Even though I had a real gut feeling that I didn't listen and kept going. And I did come back, but I did get a felony for leaving the scene of the crime. And I did do 13 months in prison as well. And his name was Zachary Paul Tyler. And my older brother's name is Zachariah, and my younger brother's name is Paul.
So you got some irony going on there.
Well, and not just that, but I used to dream when I was, I think, probably like 8 or 9, I would have this reoccurring nightmare that I would accidentally kill my older brother, whose name was Zach.
Okay.
And I never actually saw it.
Okay.
But I would
so
know that
you've had a lot of very poignant experience that says the mystical has some great value here for you.
Okay.
Okay. So what did jail teach you? Prison teach you?
Oh, to be still. And I kind of went through like all my decision making up until that point. I also just life in prison, all the women in there. I definitely made friends and tried to help. And I started doing yoga while I was in there. And now I'm a yoga teacher trainer, and I'm also a MFR therapist. So definitely like learning.
You've changed your life.
Yes.
Now you know why you hit that person. You may have killed him, but it ended a karmic journey because he gave you something back. A second chance.
Yes. Yeah. It's
because if you hadn't have killed him, you would have killed yourself with a phone accident, and you go off the road and you crash the car and poof.
Yeah.
So that Reiki teacher opened a doorway for you, a doorway of awareness that there's another world there, that there are these things that go on. Now, you wanted to know about galactic history, so it's not about ancient history for you. It's about understanding the more recent pasts.
Yes.
So we'll go 1900 to 1970. So you were about 70 years old when you died.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the significance of this lifetime is criminality.
Yes.
It was the end of an era where, in the spiritual perspective, being a criminal was being free because corruption and death was so common.
Mm-hmm.
And that planning a criminal life could be very positive for spiritual growth. So you were living in Germany, were born in Germany, so early 1900s, and you were part of the car manufacturing business in the very beginning, like Volkswagen. So you like worked on the line. And then you moved into, we'll just say, mafia type protection business and collecting. Because your brothers were into it.
Mm-hmm.
And you became, let's just say, hired thugs.
Mm-hmm.
And this would have been in Berlin, Germany, hired thugs. And then when World War I hit, because you would have started working in the factory at like 13. World War I hit. It changed you. It obviously, war is its own hell. It changed you. But coming back, you wanted to leave Europe. And you came to America and actually came in through the Statue of Liberty. This was a huge energetic exception for yourself. You were ending in a spiritual format, ending the old ancestral connections and opening up to the new ancestral connections of what this place has to offer without the coat of arms that families have holding you back from a spiritual advancement. Now, coming here, being post-military and being thugs, you immediately joined the German mafias in the New York area. Now, what's significant here? What have criminals done to you this lifetime? And without saying guilt, what have you done this lifetime that has put you down the potential path of criminality?
That there's an other side to it? Or could you repeat that one more time?
So how has criminality affected you this lifetime? What lessons have you learned?
I've had to learn, learning to improvise, learning to be innovative and creative and go my own way instead of feeling pressured down other roads just because it kind of forced me in a different direction, but that's where I've always wanted to be.
So that lifetime is very much influencing you this life. It's the temptation to become a criminal. Temptation to go back and being a thug. Okay? Okay?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've beat that program.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
You may have a little thuggy life in the background, but you're not a full practicing thug. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I definitely have that little streak in me there.
So. Right. So have a retirement party for your internal thug. Serious.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Have a retirement party. Okay.
Yeah. Softening has been my big thing this last year. Is soften.
Send your thug to Florida.
Yeah, she needs it. Is there anything about dance in my past lives? I So I did dance a lot when I was younger, and part of the yoga that really got my healing going was the dancing yoga and spiraling through the chest, and just really like woke my ass up big time with moving the trauma energy.
That's because you're moving your core muscles so intensely. Yes, you have a variety of dancers that were Indian-based dancing groups, like the Dancing Shiva. Now, they functioned a little differently. So the types of dance energy you would have would be an intricately carved floor of the world, like big, 50 by 50, 50 feet by 50 feet. And then you'd be dancing over the known world and bringing energies in and out. That was a common type of experiential dance in the past. And then the rhythms that the feet can create in an echo chamber type room. So this may be something for you to consider, that the spaces that you're working into, just like art can have negative space, echo can be considered your negative space from the art side.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Which can be very inspirational to the spiritual person who's now getting these unique types of experiences from the creation of your own body and the tapping your feet and the echo that comes back. It's tapping the mystical. Okay. Now, what kind of dance experience do you have this lifetime?
I took years of ballet and point and a couple modern dance, a couple of years doing that. The thing is I did that all when I was younger, and then I get into the athletics like volleyball and track, and that was my life for a long time. And when I started doing the yoga and then got into the dance yoga, it just like reignited all of the dance muscles and energy back up. So I started like doing choreography, creating and stuff again, because I did that as a child.
Have you been able to make any money at it?
I've been teaching. I teach the dance yoga class, and I've been teaching that for about 5 years now. And I have even with COVID, I did classes online, and I have a nice following from the last couple of years. But like big, I'm not sure. I started doing the MFR work, and that kind of sidetracked me because I loved that so much, and that pushed my body into a whole nother shift in my healing.
You can incorporate all of that. Yes. So part of your greater healing is to having a freedom of wealth and abundance from what you're teaching. You are a teacher spirit. You already know that.
Yes.
But you gotta embrace the business side of the teacher. It is a business, and you got to get paid your value. Just like the last person that called, you got to understand the service that you're offering for people that want to learn dance and what it can do for them. So, like the first caller, you need a dance team around you.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to just like on South Park, go onto a street and do a dance off, and find another team that you can compete with, and go to malls and just randomly meet up and have a dance off, and start putting it up on YouTube. See if it hits. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let that creative come in, and it just needs to be a bunch of people that are willing to do a little experimental dance, and then put an actual dance team together, not to compete. But like that other person, you go and perform at weddings and circuses and wherever there's going to pay you to dance.
Right. I taught up at a kids camp a couple summers ago, and I loved that. And that was definitely more worth my time, money.
So in prison, did you learn to hustle?
Get
stuff done.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
This is
I learned what being a little white girl in prison was.
right. Getting hustled.
Exactly.
Okay. You have to
Exactly.
you have to take that hustle energy and put it into your hustle muscles for getting work.
Yeah.
Okay. Converting bombs to pay you for 2 hours so they could have 2 hours off while the kid is learning dance. And you get their little friends all to get into it too. Okay. And then it's half yoga, half dance, nap time, and juice goodbye.
It's perfect.
Okay. And that's a fundamental of money that you can keep and repeat and repeat and repeat. And then you go, well, I've saved up enough money. Well, now I got to start investing back into myself. Okay. You've gone through a variety of traumas. You absolutely need to have someone do more body work on you, not just Reiki. You got some pent up, energy in there that's got to get out. And that gets out starting with deep tissue massage. Like you're not ready for the more delicate cranial sacral myofascial. You need someone to come in with a hands of steel and grind those points and knots out that are all over your body.
Yes.
Okay? So have you put on a lot of weight or lost a lot of weight recently?
I definitely, the last year, like my body transitioned on the slimmer side. Like I have this spot back behind my heart that was really intense, like a rock. And I've slowly been dropping down and releasing it.
That's your thymus.
Yes.
Okay. Now, thymus release is an extremely tough. That's why dancing opened you up, because you actually open up the core frequency and do release on the vagus nerve. And you have to release the vagus nerve before you can activate and do work with the thymus. That's why it's very difficult for a lot of healers to work with the thymus.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I was getting to a point where I was getting really frustrated because nothing I was doing. And then all of a sudden, I started getting on the table and stuff started adjusting. I also started doing the glass Chinese cups a lot.
Good. Cupping is good for you.
That I've noticed a big difference with doing that too.
So do you have anybody in your area that does traditional deep tissue?
Yes. Ashby is full.
Okay, so what I want you to do is find somebody that you can work with and understand you are going to go through a deep journey of pain. Okay? And that pain will turn into pleasure in an instant. And you just, as the sitter, the person they're going through, have to do it. You need to have them do some extensive work from basically right where the edge of the round part of your buttocks meets into your thigh, down to the bottoms of your feet and heels. Yeah. And it's going to be super painful. So there's some time when you were ballet dancing where you were just an emotional cunt to yourself. That is just locked in your energies right now. And it's something that keeps you in this idle mode. Okay. So, and then once they've done significant work on those particular areas, they can start working on the rest, your lower spine, the back of your neck, your arms. But you've got to release some of the trauma that was done to the body during your ballet time. Like, and he's going to work on your ankles and feet. It is going to hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, but once those energies, which are basically scar tissue, are all broken down, and there's no actual knots left in the deep muscles, you're going to have a moment where you're just going to shed a whole bunch of fluid in the body, and you're probably going to lose some more weight. And at that point, you should step into weight training and replace the muscle that you've lost over the last year.
Yeah. That's what I've started doing some of that with my shoulder now, because my whole right side by my rib cage and my traps, like it was all offline, completely offline.
Well, your whole body was skewed because you had muscles that were in fascia that were going in the wrong directions. But that was still something. That was something from when did you get out of prison?
2015.
2000, 6 years ago. So that's still, when you were actually in prison, there was a posture, whether it was a fear posture, an anger posture, that created a very negative imprint on you. And that's that posture coming through.
Yeah.
Creating those, the restriction in the shoulder and the arm. Yeah. And that's why you need deep tissue.
Yeah. No, because it was like a year or two after I had been out, and I was up in New York, and it was really, really cold, and I felt this rock in my back that I've never felt, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I could barely breathe. It was wild.
Yeah, that was your body turning back on to what prison energy was and becoming hypersensitive to the environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said there's a posture, and you probably didn't even realize you went into that posture. And it's a body thing. Yeah, the thug posture. Exactly.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Okay. Okay. So
Gotcha.
now that you've got some inspirational things, let's really talk about what it is you truly want to do in the big picture of your life.
Want to be able to help people work through trauma.
You know, you could do that through dance, even if they were sexually abused.
Yeah.
Okay.
The program that I started doing, that was kind of the point of it too, was a big part of it, was for sexual trauma. Yeah. But yeah, I connect a lot with people. I start, giving them advice without even realizing it, kind of thing, for that kind of stuff. And I feel like I am coming to a point where a lot of the stuff I'm able to talk to it without getting the shakiness, without going down the holes and all that stuff. Like I'm very okay with where I am with that. But yeah, I do. And possibly too, like people getting out of prison. Because that, like I said, like I didn't understand the importance of body work. Like I considered myself a health person, and the fact that you're in there and you're not allowed to touch the visuals, you have no color, you have nothing, and then you come out into the world, the huge shock to the body and senses is just, it's so much. And there's not a lot of understanding around that at all.
And they don't want to understand it.
No.
But now that you have this insight as an what I call now outer sight, this is where you have to monetize this and not feel guilty about monetizing it. People need that.
Yeah.
And are you going to have enough hustle strength in yourself to get one class and try? Okay.
What about, so I'm doing my first retreat this October with two of my friends. We're putting it on in Guatemala. And that was another thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to do retreats.
You mean ayahuasca type retreats?
We have that one planned for next year in Peru. The one this year, we're going to do a mushroom trip at the end of it. But the one next year will be ayahuasca. So
my advice to you, it's too early to do medicine journeys for you in your practice. Because you're going to get people that can't handle it. And then what?
Yeah.
You can switch to something like cacao pure cacao ceremonies. That's a heart opener. It's just like doing MDMA in large volumes. Yeah.
That's the one. I think we are going to have a cacao ceremony.
Yeah, but you could listen. There are cacao artists that have integrated the yoga in the silk strings, and you do that. What's that? Flying yoga? What do they call it? When the aerial yoga, with cacao ceremonies, and they have like completely bring them back down to grounding, and then they give them some Wim Hof breathing, and the next thing you know, they're dancing the rest of their life.
Yeah. And that was my gut feeling about plant medicine, because it's been around me the last couple years, like being offered and stuff. And my response is I just got done with the big plant medicine trip. Like I feel like I've
done my share.
Like, that's really how felt with it, you know, and at the retreat, like the plant ceremony, that's not my thing. It's my one friend that she's been around it and she's doing it. She'll be the one in charge of that. I'll be doing the dance yoga and some meditations.
Then you're fine there. It's just understanding it can go wrong very fast.
Yeah, I'll pass that along to her as well.
And she can switch to cacao and incorporate deeper spiritual dance processes to it. Get some drumming going on. Yeah. You know, and that's something for you to think. If you don't have a drum, you got to get one and start learning it.
Yes. No, and I have done a class with drums, and it was amazing. It was so much fun because you stay to the beat of the drums. Yes. As you're doing it and hopping and moving and spiraling. Yeah.
Now you're inspired. So what's it going to take for you to access your hustler?
Ooh, it's just.
And not feel guilty and not feel like I'm thuggy. Your inner pure light hustler. That's going to do positive action for you.
Yeah. It's pushing through. It's pushing through and not letting the programs come in. You know, it's definitely, I feel like I've made progress in that sense, but it's still the one you always, you know, those little doubts. But I'm getting good at snapping them where, you know, in trying to reprogram in that, because there definitely was some deep insecurity of feeling that I deserved, you know, after everything that had happened, because that, when you're in that tunnel mode, it's hard to get out of that. But yeah, I feel way more grounded and that I am here to do things than I have.
Are you in a relationship now?
I am, yes.
How is that going?
I personally feel like it gets better every year. It started off rocky. I definitely realized I had a lot of stuff going on that I still didn't know or understand. And he had other stuff going on too. And I think he had a hard time understanding me, but we've kind of come through the last 4.5 years to a really good bridge with everything, almost like kind of seeing ourselves go through stuff. And we've both come out on the other end where we're making our life better.
What is your future with him?
I don't see myself without him right now.
So what is your future then?
What I want to do is I want to bring him into my business because he is a chef, and I also want to bring in food to my stuff. And so that's honestly, I kind of see us working together. And we work very well together. And I don't know exactly, he definitely he's a hard one. He likes his routines. He likes his patterns. And so he's a little harder to vata heavy. It's hard to light the fire under his ass as much as
that's because he's cooking all the time and putting his core assets into the cooking.
Yeah.
So a little piece of advice here. You have to treat him like a stray cat that you have to tame when it comes to leading him into your work. You got to be very careful with him. Okay? So his seriousness to his cooking versus your freedom of form will be challenged. Okay, because if it takes 2 hours to cook something and you're off dancing in the flowers with butterflies and not there to eat, it's challenging. Okay.
Yeah. It sounds like a scenario, a possibility.
Okay. So, if anything, he can have one aspect where he could be a part of the retreats where he teaches the joy of cooking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The joy of cooking, and he does a nice, super high level foodie taste test with everybody, and then they get that as wisdom and that they can apply, and it's just giving them the right words to say, and then he speaks from his heart of why I love to cook and what I do when I'm serving for people and how that could help heal people too. Okay.
Well, and he's not a big talker, but when he does say his things, it is very genuine and very deep. And so that's why
That's why I said the stray kitten. You got to be careful with him to get that personality to come out. You need tuna.
He calls himself a cat whisperer too.
I call myself a cat whisperer too. I learned to speak cat in 2005. I'm serious. Learned to speak cat.
Are they smart asses? They've got to be smart.
Most of them are smart asses. It all depends.
I think my dog thinks she's a cat. No, she's got lots of cat-like behaviors.
She's got cat issues.
She does. She's sleeping on top of the couch right now.
Okay. So let me pull out my spiritual crowbar.
Okay.
I'm going to lift up one of your empty boxes hidden a deep away. Where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Brevard, North Carolina.
Okay. What do you remember about the town you grew up in?
It was a very small town. Everybody knew each other. I lived out in the woods on the outskirts, so I barely even came to town as a child. I was in the woods up until I was 10 or 11. High school, or do you want me to go into school?
Hold on. So when you were living in the woods, what do you remember about living in the woods?
I remember playing outside all the time, and I had tree forts. I'd stay up in the tree forts for forever. I had such a wild imagination, which my brother did too. We were always on adventures doing things. The neighbors had chickens, so we'd be chicken hunting and saving their chicks and trying to catch their cats. We did a lot of hiking, a lot of camping. My dad did a lot of biking, so we learned how to bike when I was really young. My parents opened a restaurant when I was 7, and that was a big deal because that took over most of the social life, family life. And then I kind of, after that, sort of only knew restaurant through like middle school and high school. And high school, I was ready to get the F out of here. For sure. I left when I was 17. Yeah.
And where did you go?
I went to Greensboro. I went to UNCG. I got in their art program. Because that's originally I wanted to be an art student. I still love my art. I do wood burning now, which I love. So I did art school, and I got mono at the end of my first semester. I didn't know I had it until I collapsed, and they took me to the hospital, and they were like, "You've had this for a month. You're going to get it again." So I had to go back home. And then I moved out to Wilmington that next spring. And then I was out there up until my accident in 2015.
Pause right there. I want you to look back to the little girl that was chasing butterflies and rainbows. And where is she inside your body?
Ooh, deep, deep in there, in the heart.
Is she like in the underground you?
I feel like I've been seeing more of her lately. I've been feeling a little bit more of her lately.
I want you to visualize her dancing inside your heart, chasing the butterflies and the rainbows. And just let your body feel a little bit of motion, so you can begin to just mimic some of her movements. And then say hello to her.
Hi. My dog just came over to me to say
She feels the energy. That's why he feels the energy. Okay. Okay.
Hi. Hi.
Okay. You need to come visit this little girl, this chasing rainbows and butterflies and going on adventures.
She's having a great time.
Well, she's got a lot to teach you.
Biggest teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And the outdoors. She stayed outside all day.
Mm-hmm.
All day.
You need to bring her out. So that was box number 1. Box number 2, your first sexual experience. What happened?
I was not very attracted to my first boyfriend. And so it made me uncomfortable. Like it wasn't anything. I felt, and I also grew up with conservative Christians, so it was very, yeah.
So you had to lower yourself to be with him.
Yes.
Which then affected much more of your other relationships in the future.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I want you to visit that girl just before she had the experience with him. See her and say, I forgive you.
I forgive you.
I truly forgive you.
I really do forgive you.
This experience you're about to have.
This experience you're about to have.
Is going to affect me in the future.
It's going to affect me in the future.
And I'm coming to you now to forgive.
And I'm coming to you now to forgive.
Where the pattern began.
Where the pattern began.
And I want you to see her just after the experience, when you're going through all that doubt and hesitation of who you are. And say to her, I forgive you. Do not hold on to this doubt or hesitation. For it is my burden today, not yours, of the past. And I now transform this burden into healing.
Transform this burden into healing.
Okay. And then your next experience and all the ones that you can remember where you had to put yourself in the secondary seat. Forgive all of them.
Yeah.
Heal all of them.
It's like I felt like I was just like watching the show.
Yeah.
From far. Very disconnected for a long time in my life.
Forgive yourself of that disconnection so you can allow it back in at this life now. You've earned it.
Yeah.
Okay, you've earned it.
I think I have.
Okay, you ready for box number 3?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think is in box number 3?
Is it your first love?
Nope.
No.
Box number 3 for you is your last day of prison.
Oh. God.
Let's open up the box together.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the craziest 24 hours. God.
What happened?
I couldn't stop smiling. Like I was in bliss state. And when I was going through my 300 hour and they're talking about bliss state, I'm like, I've been there. And that's how it felt. And I even could say to myself, like, I know this isn't going to last forever, but I wish that I could feel this way about life all the time.
So why is that energy inside a box stuffed down in your reality?
Because I conformed.
Okay, keep going.
And I submitted to a life that I felt I maybe deserved, which was something.
Okay. I want you to go back to the box and look at the bliss. See yourself smiling, feel that aura, and bring that bliss back into your body. Smile. Turn it on. Feel that bliss. It is a memory you can relive right now. Have it recharge your deep inner batteries.
Mm. Mm.
Introduce the bliss to the little girl.
Taking it up a level.
Mm-hmm. This is what the spiritual journey is about. The adventure into up-leveling your visionary process.
Yeah. The layers that you can just keep adding on. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess it's that thing where, you have to think about your past, and we feel like we don't want to know.
Or just too afraid to just start.
Yeah. So it's not that bad.
Yeah. So what I'd like for you to do is once a week, go into your deep consciousness and open up a box.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
You won't, and I assure you won't run out of boxes.
Oh no. I'll probably I'll find new ones. There'll be new ones.
Brand new ones will appear, exactly.
Yeah. The trick box.
They'll be FedExed right to you when it happens.
This is a sign.
Okay? Exactly. Signs everywhere. There's signs. Okay?
Yeah. I'm also reading Dancing the Dream. I bought that from your recommendation. It was some show. You're like, if you haven't read this, you need to read it. And I bought it. And then I realized after I bought it that I already had her medicine cards from 4 years ago.
There you go.
So that was really cool. Yeah. So in her book, I've been going through her book, and I've never read a book where everything lights up on the outside of what you're reading. It is amazing. It really is.
That's why I recommend it.
Ooh, so good. I am telling all the people, I want to buy everybody that goes to the retreat the book.
Yeah.
You need this. But
all right, I gotta let you go. I gotta move on to somebody else.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You've been a great teacher to a lot of people out there. Okay? And I want you to step up in your teacher level, access your inner hustler who's not a thug. Okay? Hustle. Get yourself the making of cash can repay you in the future. Get a dance team around you. Okay? Go and start serving up the local neighborhoods. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, Donald. Take it easy. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Okay. All right, Roberto, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All right, that was great. Johnny 5, signal to unmute.
Johnny 5, are you alive? Johnny 5, Johnny 4, Johnny 3, Johnny 2.
I have to resend it because they unmuted, then they muted themselves.
Johnny 5.
Figure. Let's try one more time.
Johnny, are you there? Hello, Mr. Johnny. Can you figure out the mute button?
We're having technical difficulties. Let's move on.
Let's move on to the next caller.
Omar.
Omar, are you there?
I'm here.
How you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
We talked to you a couple weeks ago. How are things going?
Things are. I remember what you said to me, and also I shared it with my mum, and she says, "Remember what he said about the spiraling, because this is about how I spiral
out of control."
But I still would like to know my Akashic Records.
It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference in you until you are actually a lot more stable.
Really?
Mhm. You need to be a lot more stable. High Akashic record frequencies are very high frequency, and they oftentimes can make things unstable long term. That's why not everybody is ready for it. That's why you got to be much more stable in your body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no hints that no.
It's not even about hints. It's about like what we talked about in the last time you called, and getting back into your body, getting the central nervous system to fire up, getting back into the athletic shape.
Okay. Well, I have a question about Ukraine crisis, and want to hear about your perspective on the Ukraine crisis.
Oh, you have classic East versus West, but the propaganda has skewed what it's really about. Here in the United States, we have Mexico to the south of us, and the country of Mexico is run by the drug cartels of South America. Like, it has bought the entire government. In Ukraine right now, the exact same thing is happening. Everybody that says is a Russian oligarch is a Russian mafia member or a drug cartel. Right now, there are 122 major cartels in Ukraine that run the government from ground up, and have run the government from ground up for decades and decades and decades. Ukraine was denied access to the EU twice because it was too corrupt. Now, all of those drug cartels in Ukraine have been laundering their money in the oil industry. And what they're trying to do now is use their influence in the oil industry and this laundered money into physical oil products. And they're trying to use this as influence over the entire area. And what Vladimir Putin has basically said in his public statement is the denazification, which is also the drug cartels. The ones that run the drugs, the prostitution, the black markets, weapons, et cetera, who challenge his powers because it makes multiple billionaires who have influence over multiple governments. So what's going on right now is Putin trying to clear up their version of the Mexican cartels. And the cartels in Ukraine never believed Putin would cross the line. But as soon as he did, what it revealed is that the Russian military is woefully inadequate right now. The levels of damages that they've taken, unencrypted radios, I mean, it's just an absolute disaster for them. And they have to get out of this very quick, but there is no quick way out of it. They have to conquer a certain amount of Ukraine, because right now there are many oligarchs in Ukraine, which are cartel members, who can't leave Ukraine because they have arrest warrants for them. And many of these things have billions of dollars in gold. And Putin needs to capture the money and destroy the infrastructure of those cartels there, because it'll take them roughly a decade to reconstitute. And that's the real reason of what's going on. He's challenging the greatest challenge to his authority right now are the Ukrainian drug cartels, who are operating all over Europe and using vast amounts of drug money to influence policy and politics.
Okay. Damn. So do you know when they said it could lead to World War III? Is that possible?
It's not going to lead to World War III. What it's going to do. This is a setup for an economic meltdown.
Okay.
And a organized a global meltdown, just like they did in 2008. Okay. And at the end of it, they're going to have this everyone come together feeling to try to do the Great Reset. This is just the next level of setup.
Okay. Well, that was actually my two questions.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you go back and listen to that other session that we had and think about getting back into the physical body, getting yourself back in that athletic shape, because you can really change yourself, as well as beginning to realize when you zoom out, you go out of control and you spiral out of control. And that diet can very much fix that process for you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Robert, is Montesaurus here?
Yes, Monty, can you unmute?
No.
No, is Bruceosaurus here too?
Is
Let's
Bruce a
see.
saw? Bruce, oh, right.
Bruce is not in the room.
Okay. Montesaurus, how's it going?
Yeah, good. I Roman numeral time. I turned 48 according to your calendars this week. So my birthday is on International Women's Day. So I kind of get overshadowed.
So did you channel your inner woman?
No, I take it from the other end where I'm God's gift.
You just said that. Did you just say I take it from the other end?
No, that's what you heard. That's what you heard. I'm starting to worry about you being a healer and a listener. You're making it up as you go along. Well, if Jesus is born on Christmas and I'm born on International Women's Day, you figure it out.
So Jesus was born on his birthday.
Yeah, that's how it works.
He wasn't born on Christmas. He was born on his birthday.
Oh, which is October. Actually, you don't like to talk about Jeebus. So, but I'm good. I'm doing well. I've sort of paused in alcohol just to see what will happen, and just weird times. Like a good friend of mine gave me a lump of rock or a crystal, and
it's better than a lump of coal.
Yeah, but if I wait 3 months, that lump of coal will be expensive, and I could sell it. So it's the incentive of being a bad person. So Santa,
yes, there's some Chinese kids gonna buy your lump of coal off of eBay.
Yeah. Dearie me. Fascinating time to be alive. Blah blah blah. Feeling for mind you, it's a long weekend here in Victoria coming up. So yeah, why not start now? But I did find it interesting that in 10 to 11 days is the equinox. Can you share anything about this coming equinox, or is it just the moon doing its thing, or the planet doing its thing, or just nature?
Okay, in the theme of the earlier callers that are dancers, this equinox or solstice, whatever the fuck it is coming. The energies are going to be like, how do I describe it in dance terms? What's the Latin dance that they do with the flower?
Flamenco.
No.
Really?
I can't remember. Anyways, it's going to be like a tango. Yes.
Yeah.
Like a tango.
Yeah.
Okay. And you either are going to dance with it or you're not. And if you are one of those energetic wallflowers, everyone else will be out having spiritual fun while you're just sitting there watching. So if you engage with the energies are going to heavily engage back with you. If you are a pretender, the energies will just pretend to engage with you. Now, how does this make it any difference? The beat and theme of this year's energy. If you tap into it early at the end of the year, you have a lot more available for you. And this is an understanding of, this was really about empowering the multidimensional future selves. That's the whole point of the strategy of this seasons of rituals that are coming up, rituals and ceremonies that are coming up, whether it be solstice or equinox.
Yeah, because it's fascinating with everything that's happening. There's a lot of divine timing and synchronicities and decisions that are being made as well. Where I can't really think of an example, but in hindsight, of course I made that choice. But the Ukraine thing's only been 3 weeks. It feels like a lifetime.
We've got at least another 3 more weeks to go.
Yeah. So another lifetime. Thanks for pointing that out for everybody. But when it just felt completely off, the whole thing. So I thought, I won't deep dive into it. And my response is just Yemen. What about you, Yemen? What? Yeah, shut up. I've got that pedant. If I was a superhero, one of my costumes would be pedantic man, and so we should stop war. What about Yemen? Sorry, And it's the hypocrisy of all that.
So you'd be pedantic man, and your sidekick would be spell checker.
Yes, and we actually battle Fact Checker, who is
Fact-checker.
the brother, the brother of Spell Checker. The elder brother of Spell Checker is Fact Checker. He's a bully.
And he's a Democrat.
Yes. Gee. Aren't they special people? Now, I don't mean like the people who vote, the actual high elites in the party. They live in a completely new world. I mean, you've got, Dimension Man and female Joker, and then it just gets. Anyway, that's why I don't engage really with the narrative, because it's like, oh my God, really?
Exactly.
But people are dying. Yeah, Yemen. If I actually responded on social media, here you have that knee-jerk response, which people get addicted to. Well, you said this and I said that. I would have typed, yeah, awesome, now do Yemen about 4,000 times.
Yemen times 4,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We should do this, and there's genocide in Ukraine. Awesome. Now do Yemen.
Yes, now do Yemen.
Yeah.
And then Syria before that. Yeah. Palestine before that.
And someone actually had the same thought as me. Can we bring up Northern Ireland?
Oh yeah, Northern Ireland.
What's that got to do with it? Oh, I don't know. 800 years of the English being pricks towards. It's like, yeah. It's just now. Obviously, we have to point out war bad, innocent people being killed, not good, but everything else around it is just utter horseshit.
Yes, very refined horseshit at that.
Yeah. It's like this is high grade political horseshit, right?
Yeah, high grade. There's people smoking this stuff.
You just set it out in the sun for 20. You put it on the dashboard of your car in the sun for 24 hours, and this crystallizes. It can be burnt in your government-free crack.
That must be what the swamp uses for methamphetamine.
Yeah.
High grade horseshit is the swamp's version of meth.
Well, see, with everything happening with the petrol prices and the fuel prices, eventually it'll be cheaper to actually buy a horse. So, we too can partake in the high grade horse shit.
So I saw $4.07 a gallon today here where I'm at.
Have you seen the photos from California? They're hitting 7.
Yeah, but that's for premium. That's for premium though. That's not for regular. Yeah.
So what, regular's 680?
No, like 640, 630.
It's over 6.
I know.
We're quibbling over it's $0.50 difference.
Yeah, but that's like $3 in Australia.
Yes or no? I know. I totally understand that. It's weird as how now if we have non-idiots in charge, we could weather the storm quite well, because we are so far away from everything, well, except New Zealand, but that's a 3-hour plane ride. Apart from that, we are so far away from everything, we kind of have to be self-sustaining to survive, because it's like we're far. That's actually on the ticket. It doesn't say Australia, it just says far, because we're far away. But if we've got idiots in charge, they'll just make it worse, because like the whole petrol thing, prices, we're nearly hitting $2 a litre, which is ridiculous, because 12 months ago it was $1. And it's because of the Ukraine, which is 14,000 kilometers away. I don't apart from vodka, I don't know what.
It actually has nothing to do with Ukraine. This is just the oil company's price gouging.
Again. Yeah. As well. And I believe out of $2, the government gets $1.10 from taxes. So the government doesn't care. It's the same thing. It's the same scam as smoking. Oh, smoking's terrible. It can kill you. 50% of what you pay for a pack of cigarettes is actually tax. So, but it's free choice. What about cannabis? Oh no, that's a terrible drug.
So with the existing strategic oil reserves right now, it could be doled out in such a way that we should never see above $3.50 a gallon. But again, we don't have smart people. And when's the last time we had any form of intelligence running the government? We haven't.
The closest would have been what, early 60s with Kennedy. I'm not saying he was
the founding fathers. Everything since then has been corrupt as fuck.
I said close. And you can, and there's ways of proving that, because the three pieces of paper they came up with, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and even the Declaration of Independence, which was Jefferson going sod off to the English, but he was very pretty about it. And it is fascinating, like, people, the Constitution doesn't work. Well, when you ignore it and use corruption, but on paper, it's a great starting point, and it's the closest thing to awesomeness, if that makes in a simple version.
Right. So since we have morons or idiots running the government and psychopaths that own the world, we're stuck in this vicious cycle of the psychopaths telling the idiots what to do.
Yeah, I like Bashar, not the leader of Syria, where you can change your frequency and move into a parallel dimension. That's kind of easier than trying to beat. Now, I don't know how it's going to, how to defeat the New World Order. But for me, I'm like, you know what? I'll just try and change the channel. It's,
our moronic government is a kleptocracy constantly stealing from itself.
Yeah. Like we had a conversation recently with someone, and I think we jumped on them a bit hard, but we're making the point of, the whole Marxist communist thing of like, oh, capitalism's bad. Well, we don't have capitalism. Like, pure capitalism is kind of fair. And usually there's that whole overabundance thing where you don't mind spending all that money on roads and hospitals. But when you bring economic thinking into a hospital and run it like a business instead of a health building, that's not the right way of saying it, is it? But you know what I'm trying to say, though. If you run it like a business where it's like, oh, we've got 15 beds and we need 14 people, and but 16 people turned up. Oh, the health system's out of control. It's it's all about money. So.
Well, eventually that will fade as the awakening takes over and we turn our 50, 60, 70, 80, 90s years old, and we shall see what multidimensional living gives for the potentiality of human beings in the next 40 years. As they kick the can down the road until such a time there is no more can to kick.
the can, it's not nuclear waste. It doesn't have a half-life of 5,000 years.
Right.
It's your average aluminium.
They do replace the can every now and then, just like in football where they replace the ball.
What? There's a celestial referee comes in, blows a whistle. Need to change the can, okay?
Yeah, we need to change the can, exactly.
It's a South American umpire. Okay, we need to change the F, I think. Okay,
we shall use a German beer can this time.
Yeah. From the 1970s, when it was made out of real steel. Listen to that clang on the cobblestones.
You can kick this thing far, far better than the American lazy aluminum cans.
Aluminium. Oh, hello, Al. Is this your wife, Mrs. Aluminum?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it'd be interesting where they keep kicking the can down the road and say, spiritual life starts at 50. I just made that up. And you heighten your frequencies. I'm sure some of us are going to go, they kick the can down the road. Oh, they're still doing that. I've been over here talking to my ancestors about, building a sky city.
Yes, but this damn sound in the back of here, this can kicking all the time.
There's four people in robes that eat babies and they're lizard wizards. There's going to be three people kicking a can down the road, going, "Look, I'm important. I'm a politician."
That's right. Look, I'm important. I'm a politician. So, but I'm a politician. We don't care.
Yeah. They still do that. They still make you. Okay. And that's the fun part. I mean, I obviously I'm projecting in my imagination because I can't really remember being in that state. But I think you've because you have done the the daily work. I can't remember exactly the
daily practice.
Yeah. The infinite daily practice, being in that frequency where, it's like Bill Hicks talking about when he has 5 grams of dried mushrooms. I lied on the side of a field, looked into the sky and said, I love everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now if that's not a danger to the American public. So yeah, I guess we're at the point that it's time to expand consciousness, because physically we are the best that we can be, like the human body. Apart now, obviously regeneration and healing, because that's being twerked with, but like we don't need to grow an extra thumb, do we?
No.
We don't need a tail.
You need to
anymore.
be able to be in the body in the moment of now, expressing the level of your power through dedication, commitment, and courage. To be here now and to deal with what's there for you. And then to begin to let go of the negative things such as Roman numeral time and the debt and pain that it can bring, and transmute and transform it into something far better.
Yeah.
And not take on the information of the narrative and make it your reality.
I've got half an example in my head and I can't piece it together. It's like you're wearing your skin suit that's wearing some jeans so you don't get arrested for nudity, and you're driving a car on a road. That has
rules on it. It has other drivers not wearing pants as they're driving.
And you can ignore the Roman numeral clock. Mine is too light. Like in the daytime, I can't see it. Stupid dashboard. As well as you can listen to radio or put on a CD and listen to music, which is another dimension as well. You can see where I said half example because I don't know how to tie it all together.
See, it's a great way of looking multidimensional living and all the different perspectives and journeys we can have with it.
Yeah. And what does he mean? I'm driving my mum to a chemist, which I'm doing in about an hour. So yeah, I mean that's multidimensional doesn't work, man. Yeah, it does. You're wearing a skin suit that wears clothes that goes into a car, and then you travel on a plane of existence, which has rules. Because if you don't have rules, you'll end up like Cairo traffic. Yeah.
So it's all a state of being, and like allowing the many states of beings to generate the journey.
Yeah, and then you have to go to certain places to refuel that that vehicle, and of course, it's one of the most expensive places on the planet today,
which I want to live in. No.
Yeah, like, oh, this world's terrible. Then change. What?
Then change.
Wait. You mean I have actually? Now, of course, agreements like I'm a fractal of God. Yes, but agreements were made. I'm not in God mode. Believe me, I would leave. Earth's not really for me for the moment. Oh, is that the
Monty.
new Tool album?
Yeah, I think it's a new Tool album.
My head's on fire. Have you seen them memes though? Like, I'm taking my girlfriend on a date, and she wanted to go somewhere expensive, so we went to the gas station.
Hanging out at the gas station. There you go.
Yep. Yeah. I think Babylon B is like, you can exchange body parts for a gallon of like a leg, an arm. So this won't go on forever. Like I think you remember, to correct me if I'm wrong, the breaking point for most humans would be $9 a gallon, which I think, and I think they'll probably be in less than a week. There won't be 3 months of $9 a gallon, because that's beyond absurd, isn't it?
Who the hell knows? It's got to be over $180 a barrel to reach that. And it's at 145 right now. So yes, it can do that. The thing is, 1 year ago, gas was in negative.
Yeah.
So
they're making too much.
Well, they're making, but this is them clawing it back on the other end now. And this is going to go on. Will it reach 9? I said, in my view, that's the breaking point, because there are a lot of people in the boomer generation. I remember burgers were 12 cents and French fries were 2 and coffee was 1 cent. And then $9 for a gallon. It's gonna hit them hard. Okay.
I remember getting my grandfather's car because it was built to last.
a year.
Yeah.
Exactly. Built to last a whole year. Now, if it goes over $9 a gallon, Jesus Christ, that's going to be the worst. It'll be the worst. And if the governments allow that to happen, it's Klaus Schwab dancing in your neighborhood, going New World Orders here and serving everybody up with a dance tune.
Well, it's that we call for transparency. The interesting, the other side chose to show it through hypocrisy. I find it fascinating. It's like, oh, look, we did this, we're going to change. It's like, no, we're doing this more.
So that would be such a great campaign slogan. We asked for transparency and all we got is hypocrisy.
Yeah. Vote 1 to get rid of corruption. Because, Biden's a journalist asked, what are you going to do about the high gasoline prices? Oh, I can't do much now. It's Russia's fault. And everyone's like, anyone that's got critical thinking, like, really? You sniffing old man, demented?
Well, they know all the major governments have lost so much credibility. All they can do is toe the party line and blame Russia.
Yeah, but even as an example, I believe it was Kim, who the previous caller, the healer, with all the floods. The government, it's been 2 or 3, even Santo in the chat may be able to help. 2 or 3 weeks after all this is happening, since the first rainfall, the government goes, oh, this is a state of emergency now. And it's like, yeah, probably because of public pressure. Like, we don't have governance anymore. It's popularity contest over who wants to control us.
Right. Last comedy show, I said that this disaster's got to percolate before the government's going to respond. It's not a disaster enough yet. It hasn't reached full disaster level where it gets the politicians moving so that they can get positive news time. Because the politician will never move unless it advantages them.
Oh, of course. Well, that's the popularity of it. And people are doing the blame game, and they're bringing up climate change. And so the media, when they say climate change, it means that the public's evil because they drive a car and the pollution has changed the climate. But there's been climate change on the planet for 4 billion years. So is this a natural thing? Or also the main driver of weather is the sun. And I'll quote Andrew Bartzis, and she's being a bitch.
Yes, she's being a bitch.
Well, hang on. Is a son a female? Did I misgender or celestial?
No. The sun is everything. It's all of them.
You can quote Andrew on that, everybody.
Yes,
and with that tone as well. The sun is everything.
The sun is everything. Exactly.
Sorry.
Yes.
We can. The climate is changing. Like Brisbane, the city is built on an overflow. Guess what happens there?
It's flooded.
Overflow. But then it used to be just once in a century, and so they could get away with it. The major problem, you've got the weather patterns changing for whatever reason. Andrew, you'll love this. Instead of photon belt, I said futon belt. So the solar system's going through the futon belt. So
yes, there's all these futons all over the galaxy, all over the outer belt.
yeah. So instead of being in a couch, it's now turning into a bed.
So that's where all the multidimensional beings go to their hotel. That's the asteroid futon hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where they have a furlough. And for whatever reason,
and that's their red light, and that's their red light district.
Yeah. Ooh, hello. No wonder the Earth's going there.
Why don't you pull your futon up over here and let's exchange some photons in our futon.
And ride the wave, baby.
Yes, let's have some red photons. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you know way too much about this. Yeah. Anyway, so with all that happening as well, I was just going to add. Go ahead.
So is there enough futon strip club out there? And there's a multi-dimensional pull.
That's POLE, pole.
And there'll be a pole shift.
Hey, see, you got there in the end. It's puntastic.
There is fantastic. Wah, 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 wah.
I know. Don't poo-poo the bad jokes because they work. If you poo-poo them, you take away their power.
I know.
Yeah, it's just if you have your entire career on poo-poo jokes, like say,
I'm.
what I was getting at is that in Australia as well, there's been bad management with the waterways and floods. Like apparently they were going to build dams for the floods, but the Greenies. Do you know what the political nickname for a Green Party's member is?
Greenie.
No, watermelon.
Watermelon. Oh,
Yeah,
that's racist from America. That would be totally racist.
Well, no,
if you said that here.
No, I'm not talking chicken. What I mean by watermelon is they're green on the outside and red on the inside. It's a communist joke.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Anyway, they blocked because apparently with climate change and there'll be all these droughts and desolate places, and then the rain gods is like, no, we'll just drop a meter of water overnight. And so
there is that problem. Exactly.
Yeah. And so Australia does have extreme weather. It's just what Australia does.
Mm-hmm.
It's big and everything else like that. There isn't any forethought. Like I like the Native Americans, where when they make a decision, they would usually look 7 generations ahead, and our politicians only look 3 years.
Yeah, the bank statement to bank statement. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, sometimes we're forced into that. That's part of like the element of survival mode is, you're surviving from paycheck to paycheck. However, I mean, you're similar in age. In the 80s, it's completely different, where one person could earn enough money to look after their spouse, 3 kids, have a large house, probably have 2 cars, a holiday house, and a boat. Now
you can't even do one of those.
No, you have to be in a 1-bedroom apartment with maybe 1 or 2 kids, with both parents working. I remember W the second, the moron, the dumb one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently he seemed coherent and smart before he became president. Became president, the CIA hit his head with a hammer. He was doing a town hall and what we call a battler here in Australia. It's based, and you'll understand what I mean. She said, I'm working 3 jobs. And then Cockhead faces the camera and says, isn't that American? And it's like, even non-Americans are going, no, it's not. It's not American to be having 3 jobs so you can survive. You have 1 and thrive.
Yeah. All right, Montesaurus, we're at the end of the show. I'm all talked out. I've been talking all day since like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Hopefully to other people, because if you're just talking to yourself, that's just really weird.
No, I mean, nonstop. I had to start phone calls early, and all the way
if you're
sessions.
Talking the joke was you're talking to someone else, not just talking to a wall.
Yeah, so the people that have been listening for a while and want to process what a day like with Andrew is. So I had my first phone call at 9, business phone call at 9 o'clock. First session at 11:30, and then 2:30, 5:30, 2:30, 4:30, 5:30. So you imagine doing that, and then come and doing the show, and that's the focus that I've been able to maintain for well over a decade. And anything that I can do, you can do also. It just took me time to learn how to do it and maintain at that level. And I do enjoy doing these shows, especially when we get some really fun callers like the ones that called in today. That can be a different form of teacher than the people. We got a lot of repetitive calls, especially people dealing with the protein issue, or the amount of retired vegetarians that have had to admit they were just bad vegetarians. And they've totally changed their life around. And then the people that once you start doing the work, it pays it back right away. You see all this success.
Yeah, and the amount of people I have asked you before, like one show could reach in the show's lifespan, it could reach up to 2 million people, and that's the fun part of being in the now. You have yourself and the callers, and then the people in the chat room in the Zoom, and then you have people watching it live, and then people watching. I'll just use YouTube as an example. People watching the show when it's stopped streaming, And I find it fascinating, and I giggle like a little schoolgirl that 10,000 lifetimes ago, we decided, no, everyone turn up for this meeting at this point, and we'll have a teaching moment and a lesson being given. And it's fascinating. It's great to see the synchronicity of you have three people from Canada talking about the same subject, but 400 people that are watching it live just go, that's me. And it could be completely different, but they link whatever the premise of it, and that's what I keep turning up. Where not every caller is an aha moment for me, but I know it is for somebody, and it's fascinating because, well, you have that theory idea of 1 degree of separation, so we're all that close anyway, and so you see people learning in the chat, and there's just joy of watching that. Mind you, I'm a watcher. Guess what I do?
Watch.
Yeah. In a non-pervy way, all right?
You're not a voyeur, you're a watcher.
yeah. A spiritual watcher. I'm not the government.
Next time you pull that line out, well, I'm a watcher, what do I do? You voyeur? I'm going to use that. I'm going to remember that one.
When I'm off the clock, Andrew.
Okay, voyeur.
Practice.
Yes. All right, Monty, give away for people to get a hold of you.
Wafer Thin Entertainment is basically where I can be found on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, and Anchor FM, which includes Spotify. I also have my Twitter Wafer Thin Entertainment on Twitter. My personal Twitter is at Real Monty Dean. Monty Dean on Instagram, where I just meme up a storm, and on Facebook as Monty Dean as well. So yeah, Wafer Thin Entertainment and or Monty Dean. I'm also have a show weekly on Revolution Radio at 2 a.m. Wednesday, New York time on Studio A called Planet Collingwood. And just for fun, I did an audiobook called Stardust Ranch, The Incredible True Story, which was written by Bruce McDonald and John Edmonds, who has recently passed. So it all helps.
Yes. You all know who I am. You go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, to find out more information about things upcoming. You can go to Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and find me there also. There are hundreds and thousands of videos for you there to go to watch. We'd like you to hit the like and subscribe button, please. All right, Robert, take us away.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.